As the party emerged from the tower, Arken Guards swarmed all around them, demanding to know how they got into the tower. Thinking quickly, Lucio pointed the finger at a nearby guard who was subsequently arrested. However, the guards still demanded to know what the party had experienced inside the tower. Lucio attempted to smooth-talk his way out of the situation, but it was soon made apparent that the party would be taken to Arkenguard, where they would have to explain the recent events to the local ruler. In their audience with Lord Falkreath of Arkenguard, Electra explained how to complete the trials for the first tower by explaining the exact opposite of what the party did. Anyway, still satisfied with their explanation, Lord Falkreath allowed the party to wander the town, requesting that they not travel too far and that they stay out of trouble. And so, the party went out to explore Arkenguard. As they hit the town, Lucio adopted the identity of Negotio and proceeded to work the art of the deal on the whole town. They also met a nice young man named Boy, who offered to sell the party maps and to play marbles with Timmy. Unfortunately, he made the mistake of playing for keeps, and Timmy kept the new red marble, as well as a town map. As the party continued to wander the town, it began to grow on them. Stucio even made a return appearance, commenting on how he would enjoy setting up a soup restaurant in the area. The party soon came upon a house in town which had caught fire. The party stopped and watched as it burned, and they appreciated the fortuitous timing. Surely it was unfortunate for somebody, but for the party, it's free real estate. In a plan to raise funds, the party bought some rope, which they promised was for moral purposes only, to rappel into a nearby town well to fish for coins. As Lucio and Timmy lowered Electra into the well, she spotted a strange hallway leading to a door. Upon further inspection, the party found that it was a secret entrance to the Arkenguard guard quarters. With no better ideas on how to proceed, the party decided to strip down, and they decided they would pretend to be, quote, on their way to go get armor. As the party wandered the halls of the guard quarters, they came upon Gregory, the guard who they earlier claimed had been the one who let them into the tower. He was being tortured for treason. When the party told the torturing guard that he was innocent, the guard gave chase, seemingly without care of who the party was, why they were there, or why they were naked. The fight with a fully trained Arkenguard was turning out poorly, but fortunately, things were turned around when Jujitsuo made an appearance, caving in the guard's skull with his baker's paddle fist. Gregory unfortunately succumbed to his wounds soon after, and so the party staged the scene to make it all look like a big accident. Seeing little other opportunity for profit here, the party went back up to the town. While there, they visited a number of shops to collect ingredients for a nice old woman. However, the quest had to stop when she instructed the party to kill an adorable root cat for the final ingredient. The party continued to aimlessly wander around the town as a sort of inadvertent punishment for not being railroaded. They briefly considered forming a band, and they stopped by the boastful bard to buy a lute. But when even Negotio couldn't lower the price of a good lute, the party found themselves wandering aimlessly again. Fortunately, Brake and Anterio had an idea to rob the lute store, and took Timmy across the street to the Travelers Guild to set him up, where he could have a good vantage point to set up a way to rob the store. In the guild hall, the party was greeted by a man named Tall, who assumed that they were just trying to join the guild, as the guild hall wasn't like a place where anyone could come hang out. Naturally, the party decided to join the guild. But first, they had to complete a lie detector test about the tower. However, the lie detector's role was very confusing given that she asked a lot of very specific yes or no questions, despite claiming to know what the truth was. The party decided to give her as little information as possible about the tower, to the great frustration of the lie detector. After being admitted to the guild anyway, the party went outside again and continued their search for meaning in life. Remembering they held a cryptic note that was dropped by the old woman who they killed to save the root cat that they kept forgetting they had, the party decided to head towards the town wizard, who would be the most likely source of a translation in Arkenguard. As they walked to the castle, they passed a man in the town square who was causing a huge commotion trying to wrangle a unicorn. As the unicorn disappeared, he began to grow and bulge. He then began running off into the slums, giving off electric shock blasts as he ran, and he hurt all those who came near him. Confident that her name made her the ultimate counter to the electrified man, Electra beckoned Olympio to fling her at the man. With his great strength, he flung her to the electrified man, who she promptly tackled, while nearly dying from the electrical blasts as she grabbed him. Figuring that the wizard was the best source of information on what the hell just happened, the party decided to drag the electrified man to the castle as well. As they did, strange afflictions began to hit the party, from temporary invisibility to spontaneous hovering. When they arrived at the wizard's tower, Kaval, the wizard, reluctantly greeted the party. He agreed that the affliction was strange and told the party to strip down so he could analyze them better. In a very pivotal moment, the party distracted Kaval from his work by asking him pointless questions about the note. And, as he took his attention off the much more pressing matter of the electrified man once again began to pulsate violently and launched several magic arcs of electricity. Electra was able to duck out of the way in time, but Kaval, Lucio, and Timmy were all struck with huge damage. The damage was nearly enough to kill a full-grown adult. However, Timmy was not a full-grown adult. Being a child with just child amounts of HP, he was killed instantly. To add insult to injury, Kaval announced to the party that the note was written in demonic, and he surmised that the wizards at the Wank Guild would surely know what that means. More concerned about Timmy's situation, however, now, Kaval reluctantly gave the party information on how they could resurrect Timmy, although it would have to be done at the Wank Guild. He informed the party that it would require bone of the father, unwillingly given, flesh of the servant, willingly sacrificed. As a note, Electra wrote it down as serpent, and blood of the enemy, forcefully taken. He then angrily told the party to stop ogling his hentai collection and to get the hell out of his castle. Mildly offended by Kaval's demeanor, and out of a strange sense of convenience, Lucio grabbed his baker's paddle and beheaded the corpse of Timmy right there in Kaval's office. They figured that way it would be easier to carry Timmy with the party as they traveled. They bid Kaval adieu, and left his office with the headless child corpse on the floor. Electra and Lucio were at a loss for where to find the ingredients. As they pondered who Timmy's enemies could possibly have been, the bottom line became clear. The two would have to return to New Ashford if they wanted to bring their friend back. But it wouldn't be easy to return to the town where Lucio was a wanted man. They would first need supplies, and this meant generating an income stream. So, Electra and Lucio devised a plan to get Stucio's soup shop up and running. But first, they would need supplies. The two departed from Arkenguard for the time being, out into the thick forest surrounding the city. Electra and Lucio stopped at a sawmill outside of Arkenguard in an attempt to acquire building materials for their new soup store. While they were there, they found a man named Garbo the Dank living nearby who was wanted dead as per one of the bounties posted in town. After he explained how he was framed by the town guards, Electra and Lucio decided to befriend him instead of killing him. And then they went off in search of markswood trees to cut down for lumber. In the forest, the two found more of the mysterious mushroom creatures. This time, the two elected to kill them while they had the chance because, as Lucio put it, it's better to kill nature when it gets in your way. With the markswood trees cut into lumber, the two headed back into town, accompanied by a disguised Garbo the Dank. To open the soup store, Boy and his friends were recruited to advertise around town. Meanwhile, Electra, Garbo, and Stucio determined their opening menu. They would serve Stucio's goop, spicy gumbo goop, Electra's panty water, a premium product, French fries, buttered buns, and honey bread. Opening day was a success. Lucio and Electra found it especially easy work, given their respective skills in food preparation and walking with liquid. and the store earned a total of 24 gold. With that kind of business, Electra and Lucio felt comfortable leaving the store in Garbo's capable hands. They closed down the shop for the night, got some much-needed rest, planning to leave for the south in the morning, going back to New Ashford. The next morning, Lucio and Electra stopped by the loot store on the way out of town. The owner was in a particularly good mood and was totally picking up the light flirting that Lucio was putting down. In what was almost a fever dream of events because it happened so quickly, the bard, critically under Lucio's charm, closed the store for a little bit, came back up to Lucio and dropped his pants. Lucio grabbed his hair and said, "You will not enjoy this. This will not be over quickly." He entered the bard as Electra looked on, jealous. Then, as the bard was enjoying himself, Lucio smashed his head against the wall. While the bard was dazed and lying on the ground, Lucio and Electra stole 4 loots and cheesed it out of the shop. Now possessing enough gold from the soup shop revenue, as well as some hot merch to sell for more gold, Lucio and Electra were ready to hit the old dusty trail from Arkenguard and head back to New Ashford. It seemed a simple enough plan at first, until they realized that the path back would require them to pass through the encampment outside of the first tower of Andron. They both agreed that if they were going to pass through, they might as well pay Habon a visit while they were there, to see if they could get any leads from him as to the resurrection spell. And so, thanks to Barbio, Electra was able to don a new disguise. With their new identities, Electra and Barbio headed back towards the camp.